Hello everyone, welcome to this video Mastering Alteryx by reading the protected Excel sheets. So Alteryx does not have a native capacity of its own to do this. For this we'll be using Python. This is a Python code and let me first show you the file. So this is my file. It's password protected and the password is test. This is the data I have. There's a column and there are some 10 values into it. Now let me explain the code to you. First off, we'll be importing the required libraries. The IO library is used for handling the streams. Here we are going to use the bytes IO from there, which will help us handle the byte stream. Next is the MS of crypto, which is the main library which we are using here to decrypt and read the file. OpenPyXL is used for reading Excel files in .xlsx format. This is important to note because if your Excel is in a different format like the binary format XLSB, then you cannot use this library. Finally, we are using pandas to create the data frame for the data manipulation purpose. So let's start the code. First, we are creating an in-memory bytes buffer for the decrypted workbook. Next, we are opening it in binary mode. This is RB means read in binary mode. Once the file is read, as we are giving it a name file, we are creating an office file object and passing a file to it. Next, we are loading the key or passing the password to it. Finally, we are using the decrypt function and decrypting this workbook in decrypted workbook name. Next, we are initializing the bytes object to the beginning of the page or beginning of this workbook so that we can start reading from the top. After this is done, we are going to load this workbook in the OpenPyXL in a variable called workbook. Once we have loaded the workbook, we are specifying the sheet which we want, and then we are accessing that sheet from the workbook. Next thing, we are getting the sheet values in a variable called data, and using this we are going to specify that use the first rows as columns. Now using the data which we have for the sheets as a sheets value and the sheets column name, we are going to create a pandas data frame. This is how we create it and finally we display it. So you see we had the column and we have our 10 rows here. This is how we would do it in Python. Now moving on to how to do it in Alteryx is very easy. Once you have understood this, you just have to add 2-3 lines of code. In Alteryx, first bring a text input tool and you can give any dummy column to it. This is very important because Python will accept an input. So we'll have to pass something as an input to this. Normally in Alteryx, if you notice, every tool needs an input except the input tool, everything needs an input. So I'm just creating a dummy column. I'm not even passing any value. I'm just assigning it as an input to the Python tool. Once this is done, you will get the Python tool and the Jupyter notebook for the tool would open. Here, this line would be already there from AYX import the package.install packages. Here, you will specify the packages which you're going to use. So from the Python code which we had, specify the ones which we are going to use it. After this is done, it will just check whether you have them or not. I already have them installed, so it's telling requirement already satisfied. The next step would be to copy paste the program which we have in our Python to this. Addition would be you have to use this from AYX import Alteryx, and after this is done, the last thing to display the value, because if you're using print df, it is going to display in the workbook same to as what we have here. It is going to display it in the Jupyter notebook, not workbook, sorry, Jupyter notebook. But we want that as an input because if you're loading a file, obviously you need to do some manipulation in it. So you need to pass it as an output of the Python tool. For that purpose, we use alteryx.write and we are passing the data frame which we created here. And we are passing it comma 1. 1 means there are 5 anchors here, right? So I'm passing that up from first anchor, which you see here, these values will be passed out. So this is how the output would look like. We get the column and we get all the values in it. I hope you found this video useful. If so, please subscribe to the channel for more such videos, and thank you so much for watching.